Welcome everyone to another episode of Let's Talk About It, Addiction and Recovery. I am your host, Alejandro Hernandez. I'm going to ask you for a favor. Please subscribe, hit the like button, leave a comment on your point of view on the subject. Don't be afraid. Everyone is open to share whatever they want, their thoughts, their feelings. I have no problem with that. I will read them and appreciate your comments. So please subscribe, hit a like, leave a comment. Okay, so we're going to talk about something very important today. Trust me when I tell you, relapse. Right? Because relapse is not a mistake. And it's definitely not an accident. You know, relapse happens way before we even pick up a drug or substance. You know what I mean? We actually set ourselves up, right, for an excuse to use. Okay, that I believe, okay, that it's a process. You know what I mean? It's a process that we engage in because we want to use. You know what I mean? Because we're looking for an excuse to continue to destroy our lives, because in our distorted thinking, we think that we like getting high. Right? So, relapse is something that happens, slowly. You know what I mean? We start the process months, sometimes even years, before we even pick up the drug. And we start that process by lying to ourselves, In the beginning, we just are coming back from relapse, so we just, fought this fight with this substance, and we don't want to go on anymore. We don't want to think about using, We don't want to think about going through that horrible situation again. We just, we're trying to avoid that. Right? But we're not really taking care of ourselves, because we're not doing the things we're supposed to do in order to maintain the abstinence. Right? We're not doing the things that we need to do to change the way we think, change our behavior. We're not doing any of that. Right? We just stop using. That's it. Right? But the attitudes, the behaviors, the dirty thinking, the great ideas, right? The distortions, the self-esteem issues, they still there. And they haven't gone anywhere. You know what I mean? And we start to deny ourselves the truth. We lie to ourselves. You know what I mean? We lie to the people around us, and we start the cycle all over again. Right? Until we physically pick up the drug. Okay, and when we, some of us should know, or if you don't know, you know now, that once you pick up the drugs, it's game over. I mean, we know that we're going to go through, once again, a unpleasant experience. Right? We know that we're going to experience consequences that we really don't want. We know that we're going to get in situations that we really don't want to be in. We know we're going to hurt the people we really don't want to hurt. And I mean, because we made the decision to physically pick up the drug. But it's like, think about it this way, right? Like 6 months ago, right? I wasn't doing any self-care. I wasn't taking care of myself. I wasn't taking care of myself physically. I wasn't taking care of myself mentally. I wasn't taking care of myself spiritually. I wasn't taking care of myself emotionally. Right? And all those things in combination, right, set up the scenario for me to make the decision to go ahead and relapse, because for some apparent reason I thought that that was the best way to deal with whatever I was going through. You know, we didn't use our support networks. We didn't contact the people in our network. We didn't do any of the programs that we were participating in. Like, we didn't do that. We didn't reach out to those who cared about us. And I mean, all we did was let it go by. And we didn't talk about our feelings. We didn't write nothing down. We didn't journal. We wasn't vigilant. We didn't do any of those things. You know what I mean? And we kept little by little building, right, to the point where there was no other option but physical relapse. You know, there was no other decision that we could make other than to pick up, because we thought that's how we could handle the problem. You know, we gave up. We didn't care about ourselves. You know what I mean? We started to think that hanging out with the boys, you know, I got 6 months clean. You know what I mean? Or I got a year clean. I got 20 years clean. Don't matter. Right? I got that much time clean. I'll be alright. I don't need to talk about this. I don't need to get in contact with my people. You know, I don't need to let them know what's going on. You know what I mean? I'll get through this. You know, I haven't used in so long. I don't need to worry about that. Using is not an option or whatever. Yeah, it is. I mean, when you don't address what's going on with you, right? When you're not taking care of yourself, mentally, physically, spiritually, or emotionally, you're opening up the door for poor decision making. And we all know, including me, okay, that when we make poor decisions, we get into situations that we don't want to really be in. I mean, which affects our self-esteem, right? And it takes us back to the dirty thinking and the thinking less of ourselves until we make the decision to say, fuck it, you know, let me get high. I'm not worth it, you know what I mean? We need to remember, okay, that this is a process, okay, and every day is going to be different. Not every day is going to be the same. But if you stay in touch, right, if you talk about what you're going through, if you write down what's going on with you, right, if you're looking at your emotions and your feelings, if you're addressing those things, like, you could prevent yourself from making that poor decision. Right? But you got to be willing to do it. You know, you got to be willing to say, you know what, I'm worth much more than that. I'm worth this thinking. I'm worth this decision. I'm worth much more. Like, I deserve to be happy. I deserve to live a peaceful, quiet life. You know what I mean? I deserve to enjoy myself. I deserve to be alive. I mean, shit's gonna happen. That's just the way it is. I mean, that's just the way life is. You know, things are going to happen. What am I going to do when things hit the fan, you know? Am I gonna stay quiet? You know what I mean? Or am I gonna tell my support network, the people that are helping me, improve the quality of my life? I'm gonna tell them what I'm going through, what I'm feeling. I tend to consider myself an open book. You know what I mean? I really am. You know what I mean? I don't have a problem sharing about how I'm feeling, what's going on in my head, what am I thinking, what intrusive thoughts are coming in. Like, I don't have control over that, right? But I do that because the reality is for me, okay? I don't want to use. I don't want to open up that door, that Pandora's box. I don't want to do that, okay? Because I know the truth, okay, about what I lived in that lifestyle. And I don't want to do that. And I need to be honest with myself. So I'm limited to some of the things I could do. That's my life right now. I'm limited to certain things. I'm still having difficulty walking. I'm still having difficulty talking. I'm still having difficulty with my hands and everything. But nothing's stopping me from getting better but me. No one is stopping me from recovering, right, and improving the quality of my life but me. So yes, sometimes it's hard. Sometimes, it's. I can't believe that I went through that. You know what I mean? And why did I have to go through that? And you know what I mean? Am I ever gonna get well? Am I ever gonna be able to do the things I used to do? Like those things go through the head. They go through my head. But I don't choose to pick up. I don't choose to use. I don't choose to run. Right? I choose to pick up my hand and tell my people, listen, this is what I'm going through. Right now in the mind, I got this committee, this shit fucking with me. But I don't use. Because I know using is not a solution. Right now I'm having difficulty with my eyes and I can't really write, right? Because it affected my vision. It affected my right hand. I'm lefty writing, but it affected my ability to write. Right? And I think writing is important. If you're in this process. If you're in the process of recovery, I think writing is important. Right? And though I can't write, doesn't mean I can't express myself. I get a tape recorder or a voice recorder, and I record whatever I'm feeling, whatever I'm going through, you know what I mean, in the voice recorder. And then I'll play it back later. But I'm not setting myself up for relapse. Like, I'm not using this situation that occurred in my life now, right, as an excuse for me to give up on living. Okay, and go back to just surviving. I don't want to do that. Okay, and none of us should do it. We are all worthy. All of us are worthy, okay, of living life. Not surviving through it. Living life. And living and surviving life is two different things. Okay? Yes, my circumstances are what they are. Okay? But I'm living through them. Okay? I'm calling my support network. I'm doing the things that I need to do to get well. I'm walking more, right? I can't do everything, that I used to be able to do, but I'm getting there, walking, sidestepping it's a little difficult yet, marching is a little difficult yet, you know what I mean? I still need to straighten up my hips, but I'm doing what I need to do to get well. I'm taking the initiative to get better, right? And sometimes, okay, and most of the times, I can't do it alone. But I'm not relying on a substance to mask what I'm feeling or to pretend that nothing's really going on in my life when that's not reality. Things are always going to go on in life. But I can't continue to use any of those things to not allow myself to live life. So relapse is not a how you call it, it's not a accident. It's a choice I make. I either believe in myself, right, and choose to get well, right, or I choose to run from everything and use the substance to go to fantasy land, right, and not deal with what's really going on in my life. For me, I don't have that choice today. For me. Right? My choice is to live. To live through this, get through it, right? Because I like solutions. I really don't like to dwell too much on the problem. I like to find the solution. Let's get it over with, let's move on. Right? That's another experience I have. And later I can help someone who has gone through this situation, just like I was helped. Right? When I suffered the stroke, I went to a friend of mine who had experienced the same thing, and I asked for his advice. I asked for him, to help me understand what I was going to go through, and he did. And I'm grateful to him, and I love him to death, right? Because he helped me through that situation. Right? But I didn't choose to use. I could have. I could have chosen to say, you know what, I'm not going to be able to walk anymore. I'm not going to be able to talk right. I'm going to be handicapped for the rest of my life. Let me get a bag. But I chose not to. I chose to live life, not survive through it. So remember, relapse is a choice. It does happen. It's a reality. It does happen to a lot of people. Okay? Including me. I'm not a first-time winner. I relapsed several times before I decided to give myself an honest chance. Okay? So it was always a choice. I made the decision to deal with whatever was going on in my life by running from it. And I ran to the substance I thought was going to take care of the problem. And it only made the situation worse. It didn't make it better. So remember, okay, relapse does happen. It doesn't have to happen to you. If you stay vigilant, if you use your support network, excuse me, if you write, right, if you do the things that you do, yes, it's just uncomfortable, right, but you get in touch with all that, right, and you don't make that choice, right? And you let the people help you, and that's another day clean. Okay, that's another day without participating in destroying our lives. So, till the next time, remember, keep it focused, stay on top of everything, and you are worth it. See you next week.